Hello, friends. Welcome to the channel. I appreciate you being here. I thought I'd do a little bit of a update, I guess, on current events, current things happening. There's a few. We have to kind of do these, I guess, current event streams because there's only so much I can cover in these deep dives. So I appreciate you guys joining me here. I see you, Chad Masters. What's up? First in the chat, we got Nicholas, Liz Smith. Welcome. Appreciate you guys being here. Welcome, friends. I think it's going to be an entertaining stream tonight. I hope so, at least. It's going to kind of be a little bit all over the place like it usually is, but I wanted to just hop on and, cover some of the stuff that's going on. I didn't even get a chance to cover the Epstein files drop, which happened last week. It feels like old news at this point now. So I'm probably the last of all of the creators, the content creators, streamers, and whatnot that you guys watch that is finally getting around to this. So I'm going to try to cover some stuff that I think maybe you didn't see. I'm not going to do this thorough kind of deep dive into the Epstein files. I think we've at this point seen most of the as they're calling it, the Goyim in abundance. There's some. I actually have a site that you guys might not have seen. Maybe if you're like really involved in the Epstein leaks, you have seen this. Might as well give you a little preview here. I don't even know where to start tonight, so maybe we'll just start here. There is some recent stuff I do want to cover first, but check this out. Somebody went through the effort to rebuild Gmail, and you can browse the Epstein files this way, and you can search them. So I think they just added, new as of February 7th, they just added all the new DOJ drops. So 1 million document drops are also available on Gmail. So you can click here and see them. Maybe you can't. Okay. So here, look, I mean, he did the G Drive copy. I mean, this is just an incredible way to browse these. I'm not going to look through the photos for obvious reasons. I think there's probably stuff I don't know if I can show stuff like that on the YouTube. I've already got a strike on my channel. I'm not pushing it here. But yeah, this is really crazy how they organize this all. I mean, look at this. These are zip files. I got to be careful. I don't even know what I'm opening here. But it's just really cool how he did this. I don't know who did this, but well done. So it's like you're logged in as Jeffrey. Gemini, so you can search. I don't know if this works. It's like a Gemini AI. But yeah, really cool way to look through this. So, the thing everyone's looking at, I mean, this is what's cool about this site. You can search for a keyword and I guess it'll come up because they've processed them all digitally. So it's not just in a PDF. So this is what everyone's been looking at. This word Goyim, which appears in 47 files, 211 pages. The word Goyim. So this is the hot word everyone's been talking about now. I mean, it's like we all know this word. This is not a new term. It's just interesting. I tweeted last week actually about this. See if I can find it. Should be pretty recent. Wow. Okay, here it is. Yeah, and this went. It got pretty good visibility. 250,000 people saw this. Not common for me to get that many views on just a text post. I'm more of a visual guy, but the term Goyim has been cryptically encoded in Jewish esoterica for millennia to keep us from knowing what they really think of us. It only took 24 hours in the digital age, and now quite literally the Goyim know. What a time to be alive. So this is kind of what everyone's talking about. at least for the past week. Like I said, this isn't new. I'm realizing I'm late to this, but I just find it interesting that this term that has been, and I even just posted today, or the other day at least, about this here. That, I mean, this term was repressed throughout history because of its implications, because of its supremacist, racist implications about non-Jewish people. And so I posted this. This is from Israel Shahak's book, Jewish Religion, Jewish History, which we read in the book club last year. You can watch the videos on that if you remember. And it's talking about how when the Talmud was first printed, they purposely omitted this term from the editions that were being disseminated. So they didn't actually publish the Talmud with that word Goyim in it, because of, if the Christians found out, then they would be outraged. There was already all these book burnings for the Talmud. There was this whole thing about, if they should even print it, if the Christian printers should even be involved with the dissemination of these texts. And so I posted this as well. This got some decent visibility. But I mean, this is like kind of what being memed now. So I just find it interesting that the first time in human history, the floodgates have been released on this term. And now, even though we've known this for years, this isn't new to us. It's now all the normies are talking about it. There was even just today. So sorry, I'm going to be all over the place, but I guess we're in this now. So I'll just cover this stuff first while we're on it. So even just today, there was this here. This is, you guys know Sean Ryan. This is I've never watched his show, but I think this guy's a Fed or something, or a spook. I forget. I think he's got ties to the CIA. But like now, even this guy is, it's like
Goyim, Goy. Do you know what this is?
I mean, I've heard the term, but what does it mean? It's
I think it means slaves, right? Nation cattle. Yeah, it's a racial slur to everybody that's not Jewish. This is in these files, like,
and she's saying
everywhere.
This.
Not just her. Epstein's talking to former Prime Minister of Israel. And what is that? What's going on? And then we see all these laws being passed here in the States for anti-Semitism. What about the rest of us? Why aren't we protecting the rest of us? I wanted to do DNA tests from, what's that website, Jim?
Oh,
23andMe.
Yeah, don't do
but
that.
I only wanted to work with people.
23andMe, by the way, is Israeli owned, so don't don't do the Israeli DNA test. Your DNA is going straight to Tel Aviv.
That are 98% Jewish or more. And then, I don't know, she thinks they're smarter. She says they're smarter than all the rest of us.
She said that on it's around the email.
Yep.
Oh, that's just...
We'll put the email up right now so everybody can see.
So this is a crazy email too. There's so many of these. This is why, like, I know I'm like a week late to this, but there was a million Epstein files. There was millions of them, right? So this is just the beginning, even though it's like in the terms of the news cycle. It's like we're covering this a week later, but this is going to be an ongoing thing. Like, people are going to be discovering emails for quite some time, I think, that are going to give us some more insight as to what's going on here. So this one is saying, I found now this is from Marsha Drokova this is to Epstein. This is his email, G Vacation. And it's saying, I found criteria to find smart people. The more Jew you are, the smarter you are. You said you're 98% Jew. You're very smart. My boss is 78% Jew. He is super smart. This is a really high IQ email here. I have a close friend / business partner who is 99% Jew. He is crazily smart. It's like the irony here. We all take Jewish people. Sourcing can be done through relatives. Ask them to do 23andMe tests. Do you think that makes sense, right?
Yeah, I wish I had it. I'll show it to you after this. But in those emails, there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so it's like this is kind of, what is. I'm trying to not get wrapped up in this hype. Always take a step back and like question, why is this even happening? I talked about this a little bit in my previous podcast episode. It was a book club meeting that I held with, share this over here, this video here with Mathieu Pajot, which I recommend watching. It was a fantastic discussion. And at least what the comments are saying is that it was his best interview. I haven't watched all his interviews, but I'll take what they say. But we talked about this a little bit towards the end, how nobody's asking, why are we seeing these files now? Right? Because the DOJ released them. This is a government release of these files. The government has them. They decide who and when gets to see them, who gets to see them and when we get to see them, right? And when they're released. So why were they released now? Well, let's think about what's at stake here. So these files were all released while there's this heated, ongoing discussion and discourse around anti-Semitism and what to do about anti-Semitism. And so now this has just poured fuel on the fire by releasing these, because now you've got everyone talking about how, wow, look at how racist they are, right? Look at how they talk about us. You have normies talking about it. People like Sean Ryan. You have people on the conservative right that are not really privy to these things, that are now starting to wake up. Family members, just people who aren't, their voices aren't even involved in online discourse. Just people are now talking about this at a much larger scale. It's kind of left the realm of like niche online right circles, right? It's like now it's being more mainstreamed. And when I look at that, I think of how the whole precedence for establishing the state of Israel, for example, was based on anti-Semitism. It was, I've covered this I think in one of the older streams where we talked about, I think we were reading the book Against Our Better Judgment. And actually, I might as well pull this up so we can actually look at some examples so you can see what I'm talking about. But basically, when they were in talks about creating the state of Israel, this was one of the things that they mentioned. Now, let me just bring up this text. Against Our Better Judgment. This is by Allison Weir. Okay, here it is. So let me just switch to this screen here. So this is the text from Allison Weir. Now, is this what I was looking for? Yeah. Okay. So when they first established the state of Israel, they took over Palestine, and their initial problem was that they couldn't populate it. They couldn't create enough urgency for the Jews to migrate there. And so this is talking about how they started to create these false or extremely exaggerated cases of anti-Semitism to spark urgency among the Jewish people to migrate to Palestine. I think this is the section. Yeah, I think this is it. Yes, because it's going over some of the things that they said, right? This is convincing Jews to uproot themselves and move to Palestine proved to be a formidable task. And this is from Israeli professor Yosef Grodzinski. He says, when life is good, people tend to stay where they are. Candidates for Palestine immigration therefore had to be Jews whose life was not good. I don't know if I can say it's Halabunga DPs, displaced persons became a human reserve of great immigration potential, hence a prime target for Zionists. Okay, so it's going over all these quotes from these Zionist leaders. Rabbi Klausner, the people must be forced to go to Palestine, right? There's quotes from the prime minister somewhere in here. Yeah, Ben-Gurion. Ben-Gurion's strategy in the Exodus affair paid off. The fate of the refugee ship attracted considerable and sympathetic attention around the world and served the Zionist cause well. All right, so you can look at all these quotes in here. And this text, you can find it for free, by the way, online, if you just search for Against Our Better Judgment. So, yeah, my point in showing this is that I can't help but think that there's some kind of like purposeful intent maybe behind this. Assuming that if this is the case, that the DOJ knew the contents of these files to some degree and knew that this kind of stuff was going to be talked about. So yeah, there's that. So if we go back to here, let me just catch up on the chat here. There's a history series on Ottoman Empire and Zionism just out in episode 87 at 41 minutes, tells about Cuba. In the past week, CFR uploaded 2 articles. Oh, wow. Hey, thank you, Jeremiah. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, Ottoman was in front of us the whole time. Left Cleve stream for this for real. Oh, thank you, man. Definitely check out Cleve to Antiquity. I was on his stream last week as well. That's partly why I just didn't do a stream. I was on that one and been a little bit busy with other stuff with the book and whatnot. So I was hoping that most of my community was able to tune into that one and watch the interview I had with Cleve to Antiquity. We talked about kind of the usual stuff that I've been talking about on when I'm a guest on anyone's podcast. It's about the influence of Kabbalah and Neoplatonism and Hermeticism in the Protestant Revolution. So that kind of stuff. The articles have been taking off lately, which I'm glad to see. But I can't get this book done sooner. But I'm still taking my time with it. So that's the Goyim 47 results for Goyim. There you go. I mean, you could just look through all of these and just see what they say about us. So I'm not going to go through all of these, but this is what everyone's talking about. Look, there's text messages here. So these were all made searchable, which is cool. So definitely check out gmail.world is this website that I'm on. It's called gmail.world. Yeah, we're going to get into Discord too here in a little bit. Actually, probably just switch over to it in a sec here because that's what's happening today. That's more current. So yeah, like I said, I think you guys, oh, what is that? Goodness. I don't really want to look through these too much. I mean, I'm just assuming you guys are familiar with what's going on with the Epstein files. There are a few things I think maybe that I'll circle back to maybe a little later as I go through the feed. But yeah, let's get into what's happening with this Discord stuff. So let me just find the tweet here. I think it's pretty recent. Oh yeah, and then there's this too. This is just a one-off thing, but vindicated again award for those who were saying that this was all a Zionist takeover of Venezuela to import more oil or export more oil to Israel. It's exactly what's happening. Venezuela sends oil to Israel for the first time in years following the capture of President Maduro. There you go. Big shock there. So, yeah, I mean, it's just like, of course, yeah, this is not really a surprise, but more vindication for those who are saying that this is all a a Zionist plan. Maybe it's not just that. Maybe I'm sure there's other factors involved in this, but anytime you see something like that, it's probably to some degree to serve the interests of Israel. So, we're going to get into Discord here. What's going on with Discord? So the Discord mods are seething. They're crashing out because Discord rolled out a new policy that is going to require people who are, I suppose all users who want to continue using Discord without any kind of limitations to verify their ID with a face scan. So this came up. I have a Discord. If you guys aren't part of it, I guess join if you're still planning to use Discord. We're going to get into a little bit about what this means, but we have a pretty thriving community on Discord that I think we've all been enjoying a lot. It's a great community, and this sucks, honestly, because there's nothing like Discord. There really isn't. There's no competitors to Discord. There are some Discord clone apps, but they're very janky. They're very beta testing. I was reading that one of the best supposed alternatives to Discord was coded with AI and stuff. So it's these are all not ready for some kind of mass migration over to these platforms. They're very small projects. Discord has a ton of VC funding. They've been around a very long time. And there's just nothing like it. It's in recent years, they've broken out of just being a niche kind of gamer application for communications among gamers and whatnot. And now it's just more broadly being used for active online communities. I think it's a great community app. But again, there's nothing like it. So if this gets really out of hand and it does limit the ability for us to be able to use it the way that we've been using it, I don't think there are other options. I would probably at that point go the route of maybe self-hosting a forum. Go back to OG forum posting. I don't even know if anyone would use it that often, to be honest. But, the thing is with these private chat applications, they've kind of, in a way, that they've eliminated searchability for all of these discussions that have been going on for over 10 years now, or probably close to 20 years, where these communities are having these instant communications that aren't searchable on the web. Forums have that feature. That's why actually Reddit is pretty good for if you're doing searches for what people are saying about a particular thing, like a really niche thing, whatever. Reddit could be pretty good for that because it comes up in searches because it's a forum. So you don't have that with Discord. And now, there's good parts to that too. You don't want all your conversations being searchable, obviously, but for depending what you're using it for, if it's for education, I think maybe a better platform would be a forum. So what does this mean, right? Now, this is officially from Discord. They're kind of clarifying things to alleviate some of the blowback, to make it clear what's actually happening, because everyone's freaking out. They're like, it's over. I'm done with Discord. And that's understandable, but I think we need to understand what's actually going on here. So this is an age verification specifically for if you want to use channels within Discord that are marked 18 plus. So if you're in these servers that have not safe for work channels, which is very common on Discord, actually, there's a lot of PDF file stuff going on in these communities, as we all know, a lot of grooming, really degenerate stuff with, the straight up porn discords and stuff like that. So this has been an ongoing problem for a long time. And in that regard, you could probably say, well, good. I mean, they should do something to kind of crack down on this grooming and whatnot. But this is being applied to all users. If you want to continue using the platform, I guess understandably, how does Discord know if you're an adult or not, right? They have to do this for everyone. So again, this only applies to if you're using servers that are that have these 18 plus channels, and if you want to specifically use those 18 plus channels or navigate them, see the content. So even if there's a server that has non-age restricted channels, you can still continue using those channels. At least that's my read from this. And now they're making this promise that there's no privacy violation. Facial scans never leave your device. Right. Okay. I do not trust Discord whatsoever with any of my data at all. Everything you say on there is on their servers. You can't actually delete anything on Discord. You can just delete it for you. It stays on their servers though. So it's like, this is literally just trust me, bro. So again, they're just clarifying stuff. Vast majority of people can continue using Discord exactly as they do today without ever being asked to confirm their age. Now, I will say, if you're on my Discord, I can only speak for mine. We don't have any 18 plus channels because we don't post degenerate stuff. That's not, it's against the rules. We don't have anything like that. So this shouldn't affect my community. If you're on my Discord, you should be able to keep using it and not notice any difference. I encourage everyone to not do this. Don't verify your age if you're on Discord. Do not do this, obviously. Now, an interesting thing here, I'm not going to read through all this, but this is the original post. Yeah, they got ratioed like crazy. Look at that ratio. 13K comments, 4,000 likes, and 6.5K retweets. So a lot of people just crashing out, understandably upset. And some context here. Former third-party verification services 5CA involved a data breach and thousands of IDs were leaked. So that's why you don't do this. Okay. They don't have a good reputation of securing your data. You're posting, this is like, think about this. You're posting a government ID and then doing a facial scan and then submitting that to a company whose CEO actually, this is another thing you should know. The Discord just got a new CEO, like within the last couple months. And now they started requiring this biometric data, and the CEO is Israeli. There you go. Every single time. Born in Israel. I've seen this guy before too. I wonder, where have I seen him? He's involved in something else that I've seen. He's involved in another, I forget what it is. Let's look him up. Humam Sakini. Saknini. Okay. And the top searches, of course, are Humam Sakini Jewish, Humam Sakini religion, right? Okay, so here's his Wikipedia. What else is this guy involved in? Oh, Blizzard. Okay. He was the chairman of Blizzard, Activision. What else here? Maybe that's where I saw him. Yeah, I think that's where I originally remember looking him up. And I think, okay, so yeah, he came into Discord as the CEO in April. So he was also, keep in mind, he was also involved in the Charlie Kirk assassination, releasing the Discord logs of the alleged shooter, right? Which we never got. So interesting with that. This is the second, that was a much larger Discord scandal, but now here it is, like, a few months later, back in the news. So yeah, there's that guy. Where were we here? So yeah, do not submit, do not redeem. Yeah, there's not much, there's really not much else for me to say about this. I'm going to continue using Discord. We're all on there. Everyone's enjoying the Discord. I understand if people want to opt out completely and want to just completely nuke their Discord account. I totally get it. It is not a good or secure application to be using. Keeping in mind that all of your conversations are logged. So I am looking into alternatives. Just know that there aren't any that are like Discord. So if we're going to continue having our community, in the sense that we have a ongoing means of communication with these segmented channels or whatever, kind of like forums or something where there's these ongoing conversations. I mean, most of all, we're using it for the book club. And the thing about Discord is because it's so widely used, it integrates with a lot of things. So I've primarily stayed on it because it integrates with Substack. So when you, for example, become a paid subscriber on Substack, it gives you access automatically to our Discord channels that are private. They're basically paywalled and only paid users can access them. So it has all of those great integrations that work really well. So that's why, like, even though I hate this app, I think that it is it totally violates my principles of being online, like using online platforms, right? It's not free and open source. It's owned by our enemies essentially. And it's totally paused. So it's not really a good application to be using, but like I said, it's the only thing that does what it does. So, until something happens where it's like really limiting our ability to use it, or there's some grotesque violation that applies to all users, then we're going to stay on it. So that's just where we are with that. But, so I'm still on there. I'm not doing this, but I'll stay on there until it becomes like too limited for me to bother with. I could see them putting more pressure on the average user to do this facial recognition ID thing. So until that happens, I'm going to stay there. And again, I understand if you don't have if you're not running a Discord community, like if I weren't running a Discord community, I'd probably be out, to be honest. Unless it was like I was involved in a really good community that was like, I don't have access to it anymore. So yeah, that's where we're at with that. It's also more of a push to eliminate. That's the other thing. Yep, exactly. Yeah. It's just going to normalize this whole, ID verification system that's going to just become more common. I mean, you already have to do that on Twitter if you want to, like I basically had to do that on Twitter to get a monetized account. You have to do it on YouTube to get monetized. So it's like pretty much anything you use that requires any form of monetization, you have to verify your identity. You have to do this with crypto too, by the way. As quote, private crypto is, well, guess what? You want to use a major exchange to on-ramp from fiat to crypto, you need to KYC. You need to verify your identity by posting a picture of your government ID. You have to do facial recognition. I just had to do this actually yesterday because I wanted to change my email. I no longer had access to the email that I had on my Kraken account. And so I had to contact them. They had to re-verify my identity. So it's like, this is just going to become more and more unavoidable as we continue using the internet, as it becomes less and less private. Don't forget, the internet was invented by the military. So we're using a weaponized technology from its inception, right? So this is going to become harder and harder to maintain any semblance of anonymity online as this gets more out of control. So if you really do care about your anonymity and you don't like this kind of stuff, we're just getting started. It's just going to become more difficult to do this, to just have conversations with people online. It's crazy. DARPA. Yeah, it's a DARPA technology. Yep. Exactly. So yeah, just don't do that. I mean, look, there's no application, there's no website that's ever going to be worth the trade-off of you doing that. Again, I did it for crypto because there was actually like monetary stuff at stake. Like, so that for me is the trade-off that's worth it in some cases. If like I can actually monetize, I could earn money from it, I'll do that. Fine. I'll submit my ID. Fine. Have my ID. But it depends what it is, right? So, I'm not totally comfortable with that either. I don't like that, but that's just how it is. I mean, you want to make money online, you got to do that. So that's Discord. I can show you one of the other apps I was looking at. It's this. So this is what everyone's saying is the go-to alternative. It's called Root. And it looks just like Discord. And apparently it will migrate your whole community and keep it intact. I don't think that it keeps all the messages, but it'll automatically migrate all of your channels and how it's organized and the permissions and whatnot. But this is just the same as Discord. This is another third-party company. It's centralized. You can't self-host it. It's not open sourced. And it's just like they're just a small Discord. So it's like just prolonging this problem. You're just moving to another platform that eventually they're going to run into the same issue if they succeed. It's like best case scenario. This company does well. They succeed. They become a Discord competitor. Well, they're going to do the same stuff as Discord too. They're going to have the same problems, and they're going to have to do the same stuff to verify identities. Now, if I were in this position, I was thinking about this today. If I were the CEO of Discord, what would I do? How would I solve this problem? I honestly don't know. I think I could see implementing this. I could see doing this. Like part of me understands having to do this, but this is tough, man. It's like we could hate on this as much as we want. Well, what would you do as the CEO? Get on Nostr? Yeah, Nostr's cool too. I've seen Nostr. I think I'm probably not on Nostr because it's a Bitcoin maximalist platform. But it's cool. It's well built. I think that's built on third layer, if I'm not mistaken. Is that on one of the protocols that's built over the? It's like not on chain, because it was cool when they had when I was first involved in the Bitcoin Cash community. I'm not even if you're a Bitcoiner and you're tuned in, it's like don't even bother. I'm not really involved in this like whole debate anymore. But I was originally I was like part of the. I was like really involved in the Bitcoin split, and I took the side of Bitcoin Cash because those were where all the OGs were, and they were they were more focused on maintaining the original purpose of Bitcoin, and they were building a lot of really cool apps on Bitcoin, like on chain, and one of them was like a Twitter alternative. It was similar to Nostr, but it was like on the Bitcoin chain. Nostr itself isn't built on it's a protocol. Yeah. That I mean, it's I'll check it out. I don't think it's going to be the kind of thing like if I were to go there, I would be able to get many people to come with me. So I'm looking more so for like a private community that we could plant our flag and make it our hub like we have on Discord right now. So there's just nothing like it. It's like I could move here. It seems like it'd be easy to do, but like, who knows what's going on with this? I don't know anything about this app. I've never even heard of it until today. And if these apps are dealing with like a huge influx of users, they're going to have problems that they're not even ready to deal with because they have small teams. So I'll wait that one out and just see how that goes. And, this will probably blow over and people will stop caring in a week and they'll be back to posting on Discord, using it as usual. Speaking of Bitcoin, actually, that was like another thing that was mentioned in the Epstein files. Let me see if I can find where I have those. Okay. So, I mean, yeah, there's stuff about, this is the kind of stuff I'm sure you guys have seen other streamers cover this stuff at this point. His involvement with the Vatican. He was apparently living with Pope John Paul II in the Vatican. At least that's what it says in one of the files, that he was living there with Pope John Paul. So, again, just I'm sure you guys have seen this already. Jay covered it in depth and stuff, so I'm not going to go over that. But this was interesting here. This thing about like Mormon blood. This is a little bit off topic, but yeah, I won't get into that, but that was an interesting one. I'm looking for the Bitcoin stuff. Where is it? I don't remember where I saw it. Yeah, I don't remember. We're going to go over these videos too. Let me just do a search for it. Let's see here. Maybe I didn't bookmark it. Yeah, okay. So here, he knew about Bitcoin as early as 2011. He thinks it was brilliant. But then he started investing millions of dollars into it. Oh, actually, I did post about this. I posted about it here. This is like a video, I guess, that summarizes it, like what happened, the timeline. So, and this actually does get into the Bitcoin schism, as they call it, or the Bitcoin civil war, which most people don't know happened at this point. And it was actually around this time. So it was like actually it was a little later. It was towards this point in the middle, but yeah, we'll just go through this here. So 2011, he enters the Bitcoin space. And this is going according to the timeline of what we know from this recent dump. He starts talking to Jason Kalakankis about Bitcoin. It's like so, and then Gavin Andreessen, for those who don't know, this was one of the core developers back then. He was I think even the head developer of Bitcoin. And then he meets with Brock Pierce, the co-founder of Tether, right? It's like, why is he meeting with these major figures in crypto? Brock pitches Epstein, Mt. Gox acquisition ops. And so Mt. Gox was the first major, like, corrupt kind of event that happened in the history of Bitcoin. There's like literally documentaries about this. I'm not going to get into it, but it was like all of these... there was like a hack, and they leaked all of these. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they leaked all of these user Bitcoin like block addresses and stuff. I forget exactly what happened, but there was it was a big like heist and everything. It was one of the first like rug pulls in crypto, major rug pulls. So then 2014, he funds Bitcoin Core. Right. So this is exactly when this civil war started. And what happened was, I did a whole stream on this, so I'm not going to go into detail. If you want to know more about this, go towards the end of the Bitcoin stream I did. It was like, I think even the first stream I ever did on YouTube. I talked about this a little bit more because I was really involved in this, and it's a little bit rusty, the information, because I haven't cared in years, but, this is Bitcoin Core is talking about like the core developers of Bitcoin. And like really what happened was the project got hijacked from within by outside funding. And there's a whole book on this. Bilderberg started investing and getting involved, the CIA. There was literally leaks proving that some of the Bitcoin Core developers were in talks with feds. Right. So it's like no one's saying that this isn't getting into the stupid conspiracy that Satoshi was a Fed or that Bitcoin was created by the CIA. It's that it was hijacked from within during the, what was it? About 7 or 8 years after its creation. And then this whole new narrative developed that we have today that became the mainstream narrative around Bitcoin, which wasn't there originally. Which is that it's a store of value and it's digital gold and all this stuff. So this is, Blockstream is the company that runs the development of Bitcoin. So and Adam Back is Satoshi, by the way. There's a lot of very compelling evidence that Adam Back, he is the CEO of Blockstream, that he is Satoshi. And so Epstein met with him in 2014. Again, this is all happening at the same time. He invests $3 million in Coinbase. All right, it's just money laundering. Yeah, and this is where it happened. This is where the real narrative shift occurred. Blockstream controls Bitcoin repo and the narrative. So like no one's saying that. I've had people like counter signal this and they're like, no, nothing about the code change. No one's saying anything about the code base changing. It was a narrative that got co-opted and presented as the mainstream narrative. It was a propaganda campaign that reshaped how the mainstream adoption of Bitcoin would occur and how people think about Bitcoin. So again, calling it a store of value and digital gold and you hold it, all that stuff emerged at that time. It wasn't there originally. People were just treating it like the original investors were, well, they weren't even thinking about it as an investment. First of all, they were just like, I want out of the fiat system and I want to just make transactions with this peer-to-peer electronic cash, which is literally what the title of the Bitcoin white paper is, peer-to-peer electronic cash. So no one's using it as cash anymore. They're just holding it. And that's because this narrative became the, and then there was a whole thing with r/Bitcoin. All right, I'm getting too into this lore and I don't want to get off the rails with this, but yeah, so the point is Epstein was involved in that. So that was just a little bit of a side there. Where were we? I told you guys this was going to be all over the place. That video, yeah, what the F is that video? That's like a popular meme for like, I don't know how to explain, like really serious like PSYOP information, I guess. Like explain, I've seen one about the Holocaust like that. It's like I don't know how to explain it. It's a meme of like, when goofy characters are dancing and you're putting serious information on the screen, I guess, I don't know. Big news in the Orthodox world. Whoops. Let's put that back. Big news in the Orthodox world. Father Peter Heers finally has gained ecclesiastical approval. He's now under the Romanian Orthodox Archdiocese. Okay, so we can put this whole thing to rest. Thank God. And he's now he has a bishop. So when people say, "Who is your bishop?" he has a bishop now. I don't know what his situation exactly was before this, but now it's more definitive. It's more clear what's going on. So thank God for that. It's all been settled. So that was just something I had on here that I wanted to cover as well. Again, I'm sure other people are covering this probably as we speak on other streams, but what else do we got here? Browsing Gmail right now, trying to see if Epstein had any links to Zio. What, I don't know what that is. Zioperps. I don't even know. Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, let's get into this here, because this will be good. Where are we? I got to go back to my bookmarks. One sec. Thanks for joining us here tonight. I appreciate you all being here. Please make sure you like the stream if you haven't already. I'm streaming at kind of a unusual hour where there's a lot going on. I guess there's a lot of other people you could be tuned into as well. And so I appreciate anyone who's joining me here doing this kind of unusual stream. I don't have anything like a deep dive like I usually do on deck, but I want to start doing these a little bit more frequently to just stay in the, stay in the loop, stay in this regular streaming thing, I guess, that you're supposed to do every week and having to come up with content. So I get why people do this. I mean, you really kind of have to cover current events to some extent. Why can't I find anything here? Sorry, one sec. Let me regroup. Where's my bookmarks? Okay. So, let's go here. This also just happened today. Another conspiracy theorist vindication. Kurt Cobain's death was a homicide as shocking new private forensic findings question the suicide ruling. Okay, this is something that is really, again, not a big surprise. I mean, I don't even think this is... that interesting, to be honest. We all pretty much knew he was killed. It was just a matter of like who killed him. I think there's a good amount of evidence it was Courtney Love. I'm not like super well versed on this. I remember watching a documentary that had pretty compelling evidence that was Courtney Love. I think the smoking gun with this, if you want to call it a literal smoking gun, was that the shotgun that he used to apparently do the deed was on the wrong side. So whoever planted it put it on, let's say he was a righty, I think, like they put it on the left side. So like it wouldn't have made sense that he pulled the trigger with his left hand. That was like one of the things, but apparently they made him OD and then they shot him after that. That's the story. So I didn't even look at this, but you know, I was never even a fan of Kurt Cobain. I thought he was actually, I think Nirvana's music sucks. I don't think he was that talented. They weren't even one of the best bands from that grunge era. They were like maybe at the bottom of the top 5. There's like at least 5 other grunge bands I'd put over Nirvana. So this is saying what? So why are we getting this now, man? Why are we just now getting forensics on this? Look, this is the rifle he apparently used. How does that even make sense that was that long and he was able to do it? Maybe that lines up, but that's just like, that's like a 4.5 foot long rifle, maybe even 5 feet long. Remington 1120, Remington modeled 1120 gauge. Examination of the miscellaneous papers left in the front pocket of his jeans reveals some writing. Yeah, that's another thing. The notes too didn't make sense. They didn't match his handwriting. To me, it looks like someone staged a movie and wanted you to be absolutely certain it was a, how do I say that? See, I'm still a YouTube noob. That S word. I don't know what the streamers say for that word, but yeah, you get it. Okay. So that's that. I mean, that's again, not really that interesting. Yeah. Pearl Jam, Stone Temple Pilots, Smashing Pumpkins, Soundgarden, Faith No More. Like there was a ton of incredible bands that were way better than Nirvana. And Nirvana now is basically, you know, a Walmart t-shirt. That's kind of how they've maintained popularity throughout all this time, is like it's all like a part of the like Hot Topic kind of culture. Let's go back to the bookmarks here. Where are we? So, and then this is like not really related to anything. I just thought this was funny that all these Olympic gold medals are breaking.
Hold it in the metal, and yeah, it came apart.
Some Olympians are celebrating their wins with broken medals.
It's real. I broke it.
After winning Team USA's first gold medal of the games in downhill skiing, Breezy Johnson showcased her medal, which had separated from its ribbon.
So I'll tell you exactly what's going on here. This is my guess. How much is gold worth today? Gold is at an all-time high. We've never seen the prices of gold this high since we've been tracking the prices of gold. I think it's at $5,000 per ounce, somewhere around there right now. So you're telling me that entire gold medal, however heavy it is pure gold? There's no way. What happened is they probably debased it more than they usually do. I don't know if debasing is the right word. That's more for a currency, but they added other metals to make it heavier. And now it's like they've constructed it differently, and now it's falling off the ribbon.
Not jumping them.
It's chocolate gold coins.
Meanwhile, Germany's ski team were jumping.
Listen to the sound. That sounds heavy.
Germany.
So again, think about $5,000 per ounce like that. I don't know how heavy a gold medal is, but it's got to be. There's no way that's pure gold. It'd be my guess would be it'd be like worth something like probably like $70,000, like probably something crazy like that. And maybe it is, I don't know, but it's just odd to me that this is now just happening.
Meanwhile, Germany's ski team were jumping in celebration when one member's medal slipped off its ribbon. And figure skater Alyssa Liu said her gold medal doesn't even need a ribbon. These medals are the most expensive in Olympic history, thanks to the price of gold and silver skyrocketing. Chief Games Operations Officer Andrea Francisci says they're looking into the problem.
It's a little late for that.
Le immagini, ovviamente stiamo nel dettaglio se esiste un
Right, so yeah, I mean, just that's it. It's not really. Where are we? Okay. So here's what I wanted to get into. Now, I think this was yesterday. Yeah, this is yesterday. There was what's called a Religious Liberties Commission meeting at the White House, and I don't know what how they selected the people that were in attendance to this discussion, but it was a public forum. So you had Seth Dillon there from the Babylon Bee, who's a renowned Christian Zionist, very loud Christian Zionist on Twitter, and you had all these rabbis and stuff. Like, I don't know who these people were. I never heard. Like, I think Seth Dillon's the only guy I've heard of that was on this panel. So I have no idea how they selected these people, but they had this roundtable discussion on anti-Semitism. So again, I said this in the beginning of the stream. It's just an odd coincidence to me that this is all happening in the midst of the Epstein files being leaked and the great Goyim awakening, and all these normies waking up to to J supremacy, right? I'm trying to be careful with my words here, but and you have all this being a mainstream discussion as this is all happening, while the discussions around what to do about anti-Semitism are also accelerating as well. So, all right. I mean, maybe we could just watch this. I think this is maybe we'll just watch this one instead. I don't know. Yeah, let's just see what's going on here.
I don't know why you keep bringing her up and Tucker. I would really appreciate it if you would stop calling Candace Owens an anti-Semite. She's not an anti-Semite. She just doesn't support Zionism, and that really has to stop.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is Seth Dillon now.
I don't know why you keep bringing her up and Tucker.
So, and I think that this woman talking, she's over here in the green jacket. You'll see her in the next video. I believe she's a Catholic, so I don't know anything about her other than she's some Catholic woman who's not Zionist. I don't know. I don't know how they picked these people, but
well, because they're the two most famous anti-Semites.
There you go again. Yeah. Everyone's an anti-Semite. Everyone's an anti-Semite, I guess. So if you don't support Zionism, you just said you're not an anti-Semite, yet Candace is an anti-Semite.
I think she goes far beyond not merely supporting Zionism. She calls...
So I just want to give some context of what's going on here and why this conversation is just so absurd, because they can't define anti-Semitism. They're trying to define this abstract idea that was invented in I believe the 1900s. So it's not even like this age-old thing, right? And we've seen, actually, I remember seeing in an interview that Candace did with a rabbi when she was doing that whole back and forth with Rabbi Shmuley. She had another rabbi. She got a rabbi to join her on the show and was interviewing him. And she asked him just point blank, like, what is, how do you determine what's anti-Semitic, right? Like, I think she just asked him like a defining question. What is anti-Semitism? And the rabbi, he said that it has a morphing definition, and this is true. They don't all say it this way, but you can tell that there's truth to that, because they just continue to transform and broaden the definition of anti-Semitism to adapt to how people are responding to Jewish behavior more broadly. And so, this is a new thing, that being anti-Zionist is anti-Semitic. This is like a pretty recent development that wasn't there, however many years ago, right? So even that just proves that it adds it to that morphing definition. So to even have this conversation about it with other Jewish people, it's just absurd. You're never going to get a definitive answer. You're just asking each individual's opinion on what is anti-Semitic.
Jews the synagogue of Satan. She denigrates anyone who, she often uses the word Zionist and the word Jew interchangeably.
Wait, what is
Jews the synagogue of Satan. You
should see what isn't that quote literally from Jesus? Like, he's saying that, like, Candace calls him that. Isn't that, like, literally in scripture? Isn't that Revelation 3:3?
far beyond not merely supporting Zionism. She calls Jews the synagogue of Satan. She denigrates anyone who, she often uses the word Zionist and the word Jew interchangeably. At one point, she slipped up and used the word Jew, and someone said, "Oh, you're not saying Zionist."
Okay, well, that's retarded, but that still doesn't mean she's anti-Semitic. We all know that there's anti-Zionist Jews, okay? That's just a goofy, like, that's why I kind of just disregard anything Candace is doing, because she has a tendency to do that kind of stuff, and it kind of discredits a lot. Like, even if she's onto something that there's truth to, it discredits herself when she does stuff like that.
Zionist anymore? She's like, no, gloves are off.
So do you think saying Christ is king is anti-Semitic?
No, Christ is king.
Amen.
Christ is my king. He's the king of the universe.
So that's what started the whole thing with...
there's the but. So this guy's, like, famous for this. He's always snapping back at Christ is king, and he'll agree with it and then say but. He always inserts the but. Christ is king, but. So here comes the but. We've heard this 1,000 times.
Right?
But, my thing with her. Christ, what I explained to her, and this is what she considered this deep betrayal, was simply that the phrase Christ is king has been, admittedly by many, co-opted for the purpose of identifying with a Groyper movement and putting the Jews in their proper place to show them that they are other than. And they will use the phrase in very, very nasty contexts, like I cited in my statement earlier, Christ is king, you dirty Jew. I've had that told to me dozens of times. Do you think that that's anti-Semitic?
Of course.
Okay.
That's definitely a Groyper that said that. Well, they're doing it because you guys keep saying, like, people like him keep saying, but. They keep saying, yeah, he's king, but. So it's counter-reactionary, they're just being reactionaries. They're getting exactly the kind of response that they want when they do that.
So the phrase...
no, not the Christ is king part, but the you dirty Jew.
Right. So
I say Christ is king all the time. I'm not an
it's
anti-Semite.
like a serious conversation in the White House, and they're saying dirty Jew. They're just, like, throwing around, like, dirty Jew in this completely serious conversation at the White House.
And I don't think that makes you an anti-Semite.
Thank you.
I'm talking about how the phrase...
Wasn't that on that Super Bowl commercial? Isn't that exactly... That Post-it note, did you guys see that Super Bowl commercial about anti-Semitism? I think Robert Kraft funded it. About this kid was getting bullied, and someone wrote "dirty Jew" on his on a Post-it note and stuck it on his shirt, and then they stuck a blue blank Post-it note over it. It was almost like a gold star. Like, it was so cringe. But that was exactly the quote slur that it's like they never used a real slur that people say, about Jewish people. But yeah, dirty Jew is like, oh,
abused. So there's plenty of ways to use that phrase in a certain context or paired with other sentiments that make it clear that that person doesn't actually believe Christ is king. You can't say Christ is king, you dirty Jew, and call yourself a Christian. Christians worship a Jew. It's just...
Okay. I'm going to say something about this. And thank you for the 5 beauty of the struggle, my man. Astronomical levels of kvetching. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Every time. I mean, this is like, again, like I was saying earlier with the Epstein files, it's like this is just pouring fuel on the fire now and escalating this whole, escalating the kvetching. Like, this is kind of what they want. Their identity, and this is actually, I remember Theodore Herzl, I believe, wrote about this in, I think it's in Judenstaat, which is the Jewish state. That's like his famous work promoting the Zionist project in the late 19th century. And he referenced something along those lines, that when anti-Semitism gains more prominence, the Jewish identity the collective Jewish identity becomes stronger. So it's kind of like, I'm not saying they want this and like a kind of a self-harming type of way, but like in a weird way, they kind of like this is like a thing that helps them to gain more unity among their people. So, I just find it odd timing that we're getting these Epstein file dumps now, and this is all anyone's talking about in relation to these Epstein file dumps, which again, there was over 1 million files, and we just did a search earlier, and the term Goyim appears in 43 of the 1 million documents that they just leaked in this recent dump. Okay, so it's like, now that's all anyone's talking about, even though it was like it was referenced a lot for that term, but there's a lot of other stuff going on, and now this is like all people are focusing on. So it's just like, it just strikes me as odd. I just get a weird feeling from it. I can't substantiate any of my instincts about it, obviously, but I just feel like this is all very well timed. Nil Tempest, yo, thank you for the 5. I appreciate it, man. Shiba Dog writing with a brush, writing number 1 on a piece of paper. Yeah. Thank you for the 5. But I appreciate the support, guys. Thank you for the donos.
It's absurd.
Oh yeah, I want to comment on this. So this is their go-to, right? This is one of their go-tos. Christ, oh well, Jesus was a Jew. You worship a Jew. This is literally what the e-pagans say. And they get it from people like Seth Dillon. Oh, you worship a Jew. Okay. I worship God. So do we ever focus on like anything about Jesus's like physical traits, like his hair color, his eye color? Do you say that you when we're talking about Christ and worship in our worship of Christ, do you ever say you worship a man? We don't talk about Christ like that he was a man, because what does that do? It in a sense, it kind of like separates his divine nature, that it separates the hypostatic union, that he's both man and God. He's God incarnate in a human form, right? So it's like, why are we focusing on the human part and his his lineage, right? It's like when you're saying you worship a Jew, like these e-pagans and these Christian Zionists always love to say, do you like, why won't they say, will you worship a man? Why won't they say that? Because you're saying the same thing. You're just focusing on his human nature. We worship God, all right?
It's just absurd. So, but no, the phrase itself, and this is what I actually said in my comments.
Claps for that.
The phrase is not anti-Semitic. I declare it with humility and reverence myself.
Oh, good
it's
for
the
you.
abuse of the phrase. Just like when someone takes the Lord's name in vain, you should find that objectionable as a Christian. I hope that you do. Someone saying something like that in that context to a Jewish person for the purpose of treating them as other than or excluding.
Yeah, okay. That I actually do agree with. If you are throwing Christ's name around like as a weapon, that is in a sense using his name in vain. So I do think that's true. So if you are one of those people that you don't actually believe Christ is king, you don't act like it, and you're using it like to weaponize whatever, like even if it's whatever, if anti-Semitism or otherwise, like just saying it for whatever reason, and you don't actually believe that, it's kind of, it is kind of using his name in vain, isn't it?
Or, to disparage them in some way. That is using the Lord's name in an abusive manner. It's exploiting it for political reasons or just for the sake of promoting hatred. And I find that repulsive.
So anti-Semitism to you is mostly speech, correct?
I didn't say that, no. I don't know where you got that.
But for someone to say Christ is king on their social media platform, would you label that an anti-Semitic if you're looking into the context of what they're saying it, or if they just say it, Christ is king, like
it could be. You have to look at the context. Yeah.
But I would say that's anti-Christian if you're analyzing why I'm saying Christ is king.
No, saying the phrase Jesus Christ is not taking the Lord's name in vain unless you're doing it in a certain context, right? There's context matters.
Yeah, so going back to
this is-
Candace
Exactly.
Owens when she worked for Daily.
Yeah. They focus on his humanity because they deny his divinity. Yeah, I mean, in a sense, that's what you're doing because his divine nature is that he's man and God. So again, like you're saying essentially the same thing by saying it's absurd to say that, you know, to be anti-Semitic and be a Christian because you worship a Jew. Well, it's like saying it's absurd to be, you know, against any kind of human because Christ is a human. It's anti-Christian to be anti-Christ because the Antichrist is a man just like Christ is a man. It's like that's the same logic. It's so retarded. And he gets applause for that. Everyone's like, yeah, good point. Everyone gives him applause for that. Seal clap.
Wire, your friend Ben, fired her because she said Christ is king.
And I never said that what she said was anti-Semitic.
Okay, but you're calling her an anti-Semite.
Oh, yes, because she said way worse than that.
Okay, let's move on because everyone
Like
seems
what?
to be obsessed with Candace. My last question,
Like
why
what?
were you at the Hamptons?
Can you just real quick?
Why were you at the Hamptons?
Do you think that anything Candace has said is anti-Semitic?
No, I don't.
Nothing, ever.
Why don't you tell us what you think is anti-Semitic that she said? Why? Notice how he won't say.
Interesting.
I mean, I listen to her daily.
You should
and
look up more of
I haven't
her
heard one
statements.
thing out of her mouth that I would say is anti-Semitic.
Okay.
So again, this is just like people debating over this subjective term. I mean, it's really just nonsense. That's why they can't agree because, like, you know, and it's like they're asking. Think about what's happening here. It's a Jew asking a Gentile what they think is anti-Semitic. They won't even accept our terms because they're the ones that get to define what it is. So unless you're Jewish, you don't actually have like a definitive, you know, an authoritative view of like what is truly anti-Semitic.
Who personally created those encampments say that they were protesting the killing of tens of thousands of Palestinian civilians in Gaza and their university's financial ties to that war. So I need to ask you, in a country built on religious liberty in the First Amendment, do you believe someone can stand firmly against anti-Semitism, including what you experience?
So that's who this is. Okay. Carrie Prejean Bowler, Religious Liberty Commission member. Okay. Oh, so these are just members of this commission. It's very ecumenical. I mean, we just like, there's no reason for Orthodox people to be involved in these discourses, you know? I don't know. That's just my opinion. It's like, we're not going to come to an agreement on this kind of stuff.
And at the same time condemn the mass killing of Palestinians in Gaza, or reject political Zionism, or not support the political state of Israel? Or do you believe that speaking out about what many Americans view as genocide in Gaza should be treated as anti-Semitic?
That's a good
because
question.
In my view, the United States cannot and must not make loyalty to a particular theology about Israel a litmus test for protected speech or moral
good point.
legitimacy.
Charlie Kirk said that Jew hate is brain rot. Some people don't have brains. I'm
Invoking Charlie Kirk as the, okay, so you're just going to, yeah. Well, what else did he say that might have gotten him killed? What else did he say later on?
not going to assist them in setting a double standard for the Israeli government and the Jewish people as they fight to defend themselves. These were students calling for intifada within days after October 7th, before Israel had even entered Gaza. So it's not about them and their using Palestinian civilian death, which is horrendous and horrible. They're using it as a prop, and it doesn't matter. My religious beliefs are violated. You don't get to block me because I'm Zionist and a Jew. You want to protest Israel? Great, 100% go ahead and do it. But the university let them wear masks, even though there's a mask ban. They violated all time, place, and manner restrictions, amplified sounds. It went on for years. They kept doing this time after time again. And that's what the judge saw and said, that's not okay. They can protest, they can't block Jews, and you can't assist them in doing it.
I'm really grateful that we're having this discussion because I think this is a topic that is
But
really...
so the thing is, for the leftoids he's talking about, it's purely political, right? They're not left. Are we really going to take the position that leftoids are racist or anti-Semitic? Well, You could, obviously, just in a different way they are, but for them it's just purely political. So yeah, I mean, this is, a lot of this is like really conflated with religion and political ideology, because how do you reconcile the fact that all of these Orthodox Jews are anti-Zionist, right? How do you reconcile that? So are those the most devout Jews who are following the Talmud and the Torah to the T? Those guys are anti-Semitic because they're anti-Zionist. They're like aggressively anti-Zionist too. And that's not to say that they are opposed to establishing a messianic kingdom on earth. They just think that the current state of Israel is an illegitimate manifestation of that because of how it was how they went about doing it by there was a lot of force involved and manipulation. So they just don't see the current Jewish state as legitimate. But that's not to say, that's aside from the point. The point is that how do you, none of these people are bringing that up. That's what I would do in her position. I'd ask him about those Orthodox Jews. I'd say, are all the Hasidim anti-Semitic? I want you to go on record on C-SPAN saying out loud as a Jew that all these Orthodox rabbis and Orthodox Jews are anti-Semitic because they're anti-Zionist. If you're going to tie anti-Semitism to anti-Zionism, it's just ridiculous.
Affecting so many Americans. Rabbi Shapiro, he's based in New York. I invited him here today, but he's not here today. He says, and I would love your opinion on this.
Oh, maybe she does.
American Jews are increasingly treated as less fully American, our loyalty questioned, our belonging made conditional, because Zionist ideology falsely claims Israel is the nation state of Jews everywhere, and that every Jew is nationally tied to it. He says, this framing is anti-Semitic at its core. It strips us of our identity as Americans, recasts us as foreigners in our own country, and arms anti-Semites with
so that's kind of what she's getting at.
Loyalties and collective guilt for actions we neither chose nor control. No other foreign country does this. No sovereign state claims to politically represent an entire worldwide group defined by religion or heritage and bind its members to its deeds. Yet Jews alone bear this unique, unjust burden. That dangerous lie must be rejected openly and firmly. The remedy is clear: civic education that teaches unconditional American belonging through citizenship alone, not ethnicity, heritage, or any fabricated foreign tie. We are Americans, full stop, and we reject any doctrine that treats us otherwise. Would you say that statement is anti-Semitic?
Good for her.
What I'll say is that Natan Sharansky says there's three things that you shouldn't do with Israel.
Who's that?
You shouldn't delegitimize it, you shouldn't demonize it, and you shouldn't apply a double standard. You can abide by those three things, you're not anti-Semitic.
So just another arbitrary definition. It's so ridiculous. He just throws another subjective. This one Jew says this is what it means to be anti-Semitic. He didn't answer the question.
I don't think you need to be a Zionist to support a country that defends itself and is free and religious in a hostile neighborhood.
Okay,
so is anti-Zionism anti-Semitism?
One second, Carrie.
Yes.
It is. It is.
Sorry.
Yes.
Who's cutting her off?
To take that point for a second.
Let me back up. I didn't want to step over that answer. I didn't know you were both of you still talking. So
just to be clear, is anti-Zionism anti-Semitism?
Yes.
It is under IHRA?
Rabbi, you're up next.
You're not sure?
Definition,
so what is the definition?
I would love to speak to that. Undoubtedly, anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism, and undoubtedly.
All right, so those are their rules. There it is, guys. Here they're telling you their rules. So you all in the chat, you're all anti-Semites. There you go.
And one does not have to support the specific policies of the government of Israel, but to not support the right of Israel to exist, which is what anti-Zionists do, while not taking that same stand to the 28 Muslim countries and 13 Christian countries in this world, is a double standard, is hypocrisy, and is absolute.
Yeah, but so the difference is none of those other countries gained this full-blown takeover that was sanctioned by the UN the way that Israel did. regardless if it's a Jewish state or not. It's the way they went about it that is completely out of the ordinary. Like, it wasn't done by force. It wasn't taken over. It wasn't colonized. It was like they just got approval from the UN to displace all the Palestinian people. So to compare it to any Muslim country, it's like this discussion isn't about who has a right to exist. They're just reframing it their way to make it seem like it's this dehumanizing thing. Right? When no one's saying like any country doesn't have a right to exist. It's the fact that they got it, the way that they got access to Palestine is illegitimate. We're not, like, no one's saying that Israelis don't have a right to exist. It's just like all these word games that they're playing.
Anti-Semitism.
I think it's also important that we not make Islamophobic remarks while we're here today. I would appreciate that.
I just want to
Since
say,
this is a religious liberty hearing.
God forbid was anything like that said. But
God
if you
forbid,
deny,
yeah,
if
like
the
you
Jewish
care.
people are the only people that you deny the right to have its own state, that is absolutely a double standard, hypocrisy, and anti-Semitism.
Well, as you know, I'm a Catholic, and Catholics do not embrace Zionism, just so you know. So are all Catholics anti-Semites, according to you?
As I said, anti-Zionism.
Good question.
By denying the right of the Jews to have their own state while not saying the same for any other peoples, that is a double standard, hypocrisy, and anti-Semitism.
So just to be clear, are Catholics anti-Semites?
Carrie, excuse me.
They cut her mic.
I'm going to interrupt the discussion.
Dude.
Our committee is focused on religious liberty taken from all people, whether it be Muslims, Jews, Christians, Sikhs. We've had all those witnesses here. This is not a commission on defining religion.
He's got a cross. You could tell it's a boomer evangelical. He's got the whole boomer evangelical physiognomy, the hairdo.
Religions or calling out any theology, or this is not.
It's not a theological question.
Right, we're talking about a foreign nation.
She was asking. That's a good question. Like, make him say yes. All Catholics who don't believe that Israel is legitimate, like they don't support the Zionist cause, they're all anti-Semites. Like, make him say that. He wouldn't say it. She was pressing him, and this guy butted in.
So I want to be clear on what the definition of anti-Semitism is. If I don't support the political state of Israel, am I an anti-Semite? Yes or no?
Well, you already said yes.
They already answered. Asked and answered.
According to you on the record, yes? If I don't support the political state of Israel?
I don't personally label people. But what I'm saying is,
you just did, though.
If somebody states if somebody says they're an anti-Zionist, they are saying about themselves that they have a double standard and hypocrisy, and they're taking anti-Semitic positions.
Okay, Carrie, do you feel like you have your questions in?
I don't agree with that, because as a Catholic,
it doesn't matter.
Agree that
you're a stupid goy. Your opinion doesn't matter what you think is anti-Semitic or not.
The new modern state of Israel has any biblical prophecy meaning at all. So that's my stance, and I'm Catholic.
Yeah, that's why it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Dr. Ben.
First of all, I want to thank you all for your passionate stance and bringing some clarity to this issue.
There's no clarity at all.
A lot of Jewish people.
There was zero clarity. There's negative clarity.
People, some of the finest people that I know.
Oh, of course. Shabbos Kestenbaum is there, of course. Netanyahu's top guy. Oh, boy. Well, so there you go. You know, it's like, look at these guys. You can already tell what they're going to say. So it's just, again, more of this is all ramping up. It's like, I don't know if I'm seeing all this stuff because that's just like the nature of my feed. I think that there's like obviously accelerated discourse going on here. So this is like, it's good. Like, pay attention to the other side, because these Epstein files, what people are saying about the Epsteins being involved in this elite Jewish supremacist, PDF file trafficking operation and like, you know, all these normies waking up to it and whatnot, like that all has tremendous precedence for this discourse that's going on. That's now, it's already been accelerating, and then this again poured fuel on the fire. So, and then, you know, look at, like, in a weird way, like this stuff it could be connected. Like, I'm not saying it was all orchestrated this way, but think about like major online platforms now requesting their user base to submit their facial recognition with their state ID. The platforms where all of their conversations, all their opinions, their political views, it's all being, their discussions in private, it's all being tracked and stored on their servers along with basically a name tag with their government ID attached to it. As anti-Semitism is accelerating and as all of this counter discourse is occurring too, it's all kind of like coming to this like culmination together. It's like, I don't know what, I'm not like proposing anything's going to happen here. It's just like very, very tense environment right now. Very tense. So here again, you have Dinesh D'Souza, who for some reason follows me. I could not tell you why. I think he's lost. I don't know why. I mean, he follows like around 10,000 people. I have no clue why he follows me on Twitter, but I couldn't be more opposed to his worldview. But he is talking to Mike Huckabee. So you got the two, you know, and it's funny. It's like, this is a short clip, but what happens in this clip is like they're having like a Christian Zionist off. Like they're trying to outdo each other. Like who's more of a, you know, an Israeli shill. So, you know, I don't know what this whole conversation was about, but it was probably mostly about this.
If the Jews didn't kill Jesus, who did? We all did. It's a ridiculous thing to say the Jews killed Jesus. You could argue the Romans killed Jesus.
Well, St. Paul said that.
The Romans carried out the sentence. It wasn't the Jews who did it. They didn't have the legal authority. That's why they didn't do it.
But Pilate didn't want to do it. He kind of reluctantly went along. It seems like
based in
Caiaphas, I mean, the high priest pushed for it, and Pilate acceded. So even though the Romans had to give it the go-ahead, if it were up to them, they wouldn't have done it.
That's true.
That may be true. But in the simple answer to the question, who killed Jesus, I would say I did. If you had not sinned, he wouldn't have had to die. But the Bible says we have all sinned and come short of the glory of God. All of us. There's no...
Again, kind of true, but like it's like I maintain that it's all the Romans did. The Romans were involved in some extent, even reluctantly. The Jews were very much involved. That St. Paul mentions that they, you know, he says to them that they killed Christ. And then we, you know, yes, it's true. We are the reason he had to come and make the sacrifice on the cross. So it's like to downplay it as like, oh, well, they didn't do it, we did. It's like, come on, man.
So if that's the case, and that his death was the only means by which there would be a pure enough sacrifice to bring redemption, then how do I blame just one group of people, be it the Jews, the Romans, or for that matter, the Greeks or anybody else? The Bible speaks in terms very clearly that his life was not taken from him. He gave his life.
There are multiple times where God has a plan to punish the Jews. And it says that God used the Assyrians, he used the Babylonians. I think at one point he says, the Assyrians are my rod and my staff in punishing Israel. Perhaps God was using the Jews to carry out his plan, but still they did it and they deserve to be punished for it. Is that wrong?
To be blunt, yes. Because God did.
Why are you asking him like he's an authority?
To happen to the Jewish people as judgment. Now, was that because God hated the Jews? No, no more than it would be that the reason I disciplined my children when they were small is because I hated them. No, I wanted to steer them in a direction in which they would live a life.
Sounds like you're saying they're stubborn.
Values.
It's very anti-Semitic.
I wanted to instill in them.
All right, that wasn't that interesting to be honest, but yeah, I had that one bookmarked. What else do I have here? Did I get through everything? They always disobey. I mean, oh, here's some interesting, you know, getting back to the Goyim thing, right? This is all last week, so again, kind of old news at this point, but all these videos were surfacing of like these Jewish figures. This is Seinfeld telling a joke where he gets kind of tripped up because you can tell that the term Goyim was part of the joke, and he didn't know what to say to not say the word Goyim.
This is the greatest Jew joke I've ever heard, that I love. You're not going to get it.
Okay.
Are you Jewish?
Yeah.
Okay, then you'll get it. The setup of the joke is it's a Jew joke.
Okay.
Two Gentile businessmen meet on the street. One of them says, "How's business?" The other one says, "Great." See, he gets it. He's Jewish, he gets it.
Yeah.
You're not, you don't.
But I don't believe he got it.
Oh, yeah, he got it. He got it.
Can we find out?
Yeah.
Yeah. Two Jews and how's business? Great.
No, it's two Gentile businessmen.
Oh, yeah, I don't
That's
get the
what's
joke.
funny about it.
I knew he didn't get it.
If it's two Jews, then that is
It's
never going to be the answer.
Because they're going to be.
No matter how business is, they're all going to complain.
It's going to be fucking 20-minute reasons.
Okay, you just fucking.
That was the best Jew joke he's ever heard. Two Gentile businessmen say, "Yeah, that was business is good." Yeah, like because they weren't kvetching. That's the joke. It's the best Jew joke he's ever heard. All right. Yeah, I mean more. We knew this. He was a Mossad agent. Now we've got the receipts. Like basically, all this stuff. I wasn't really particularly surprised by anything in the recent Epstein leaks. There was obviously some stuff that that was really disgusting. I won't even mention it on stream. That we found out some details about that I kind of wished I hadn't learned. But for the most part, it was stuff that we already knew, and now we're vindicated in the sense that we've got the receipts now. So now, like the people who would doubt this stuff as we would present it prior to this, they can't doubt it anymore. We have the receipts. We have them saying it in their own words. That's kind of like the main thing I got from it. But again, I think it's important to just, I haven't seen anyone asking or pointing out that the timing, anything about the timing and the fact that this was a DOJ release, like the government released this to us. Okay. That's like that should be questionable. Regardless of how much we're learning from it, we should be asking, why do they want us to know this? Why are they releasing it to the public so soon too? The stuff with the JFK assassination, we're getting it now, like 3 generations later. Like that's the typical way that they release this stuff. It's like generations after it's out of the mainstream discourse. And now, it's like no one's really talking about it anymore. But this was like occurring during the same presidency that everyone was complaining that we weren't getting the files. And now we've got this big leak, or I keep calling it leak. It's not really a leak, but dump from the DOJ. So I just find that interesting. I don't know the timing. I haven't heard anyone mention the timing. Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know if you guys want me to go over the stuff about the Vatican. I'm just assuming you've heard this already because a bunch of guys already covered this. So it was delayed to be redacted. Yeah, I mean, the redactions too. Like, don't forget how many redactions there are. And you guys should watch the conversation I had or listen to it in my recent upload on YouTube with Mathieu Pajot, because we talk about this a little bit towards the end, and he has some really interesting insights on it. And one thing that he said was that, well, he was talking about that, kind of what I was just saying about the timing and how no one's questioning like why we're getting this. And then what was the other thing he said? How it, the redactions, like I think he was talking about how many files there were. Oh yeah, that's what he was saying, that because of the volume of information we've got in the 1 million documents in this latest dump, he had an interesting idea, or not an idea, but he had an interesting kind of take on this, where he said, I can see them justifying, like even anti-AI people justifying a use for AI to parse through all these documents. Because who's going to sit there and read them all? No one's going to sit there and read a million Epstein emails, right? But you can have an AI automate that. You just, have them put it into a locally ran LLM, right? Like upload all the files, have them scan everything, looking for themes, have the AI do all the work. So like he had an interesting take that, it sets a new precedence for even anti-AI people on the right that are, really opposed to the technocracy and the use of AI and putting all of this data into the algorithms. Like now it's suddenly, there's a reason potentially for that to be justified. So yeah, go and watch that interview. It's really good. I'm getting a lot of great feedback on it, actually. Just pull it up here. So the comments were really good. I mean, I haven't listened to like all his interviews, but I guess there's a lot, like he's got kind of a cult following, I want to say. Not in like a negative way, but like there's people that, for obvious reasons, he's a very interesting guy that has an interesting worldview that no one else shares, very unique thinker. And so a lot of people follow his work very closely. And there were some really good comments here. People saying that it was like the best interview he's ever done. I don't take any credit for that, by the way. I'm honored that it was on my channel if that's the case, but yeah, they're saying that, this is one of the best interviews he's done. So I found it to be a fascinating conversation. Go and watch this if you haven't already. Doing pretty well. We're at to 10K views. I mean, that's a good amount for my channel. So, I mean, I think that's all I got for this stream. I didn't have like, if anyone's got something they want me to take a look at, you can submit it if you want. Let me just check the Discord and see if we got anything here that I missed. What do we got here? I might as well show the Discord while we were talking about it. Show you guys what's going on in here. So if you're one of these people who decided that you're not going to, do the age verification, but you want to stay on Discord, you can join us here. Like I said, very active. I can't even keep up with all the conversations going on here. I'm just going to look and see if we've got anything in the where is it? One of these channels has all this content in it. Some great Chud Jacks in the memes channel. Gosh. Oh yeah, someone did this with the age verification. So they make you open your mouth. That's so creepy. Why do you have to open your mouth? It works. So I'm not even going to do that. I'm just not doing that at all. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what the Goyim keeps. Yeah, I don't know what else is here. This is like, we're getting into random territory here, but yeah, that's kind of all I got. So anything going on that you guys should be updated about? If you're still tuned in, thank you for joining. I appreciate you all being here. Again, there's a lot of stuff going on that you could be watching numerous other live streamers covering. And I thank you for choosing whatever it is that's going on here to entertain yourself. So thank you for tuning in. I know it's not the usual type of stream, but I'll be doing more of these as I continue to try to stream more regularly to kind of fill in the gaps. I've got some really good content coming up, though, that I have more deep dives that we'll be doing. So if anyone's got like suggestions for things for me to cover on the stream, yeah, definitely get in the Discord. Check out thereversion.co. That's the Substack where it's like kind of my main hub. You get all the updates there directly emailed to you, all of my articles, video uploads, anything that I do. well, not everything. There's some stuff that's exclusive to YouTube, but that's where all the good stuff goes. You can get in on the book club. We're just starting a new book, Orthodoxy in the Kingdom of Satan by Father Spiridon Bailey, which is a very based book. I didn't know his game. I didn't know that he was so privy to a lot of the things that we talk about. So it's a really, I think, spicy book from Father Spiridon Bailey that I'm looking forward to discussing. So it'll be a good opportunity for you to join, because we're just starting to get into that. And we'll, I haven't looked at like what kind of guest we can have on for that. I know I won't be able to get Father Spiridon Bailey. He doesn't do interviews. So I'll have to think about who we can have on as a guest for the Q&A for that one. But looking forward to reading that with you all if you're in the book club. So yeah, that's $9 a month. You can read more and, read interesting books with a group of like-minded Orthodox people, and increase your reading skills and your thinking skills, your writing skills, all that. Father Moses, I don't know. Is Father... Maybe. Oh, Father... yeah, maybe. I don't know. I would have to know more about how he would be good for that book. I'm thinking maybe Father Turbo would be better for something like that, the amount of topics he covers. But it doesn't even have to be a priest. I mean, we had... for example, I think the last Father Spiridon Bailey book we read was the UFO deception. And because we couldn't get him on, I brought on Jay Dyer, because he was referenced in that book, because he talks a lot about Hollywood movies. He talks about like sci-fi movies in that book. So I brought on Jay for that. So something like that. Sorry, let me stop sharing the screen here. Yeah, I think that's all I got. So I'm going to sign off here. Again, kind of a one-off stream, so I appreciate you guys joining. And that's all I got. So stay tuned. We'll be back next week for, I'll probably do a deep dive. I got some really exciting stuff that I'll just surprise you with. I'll just go live and, we'll jump into it the way I do. So thank you for tuning in. God bless you all, and we'll see you next time.